swear, man, none of you better complain about me being late, okay? I wasn't even planning on doing this stream. This is like an extra stream. It's a bonus stream for all of you. No one should complain about it. But breaking news, great news, awesome news. Actually, we're going to talk about this quite a bit extensively today. It is a game changer for U.S. soccer, for soccer in America, if it actually happens and if it's done correctly. Promotion relegation is coming to American soccer for the first time. USL owners, whose Division One league starts up as a rival to Major League Soccer in 2028, voted for it to begin in its debut season. So listen up. There's a lot to digest here, and there's a lot more in the news that we need to talk about. First and foremost, if you don't know, U.S. soccer right now has a pyramid that is pretty much closed. Not pretty much. It is closed, right? So Major League Soccer is Division One, USL Championship is Division Two. Then you have USL League One as a Division Three, and then it goes down. You even have USL League Two, which is like semi-pro. It's not really a professional league. But anyhow, what happened is USL is applying to U.S. soccer to have a D1 team. Sorry, not a D1 team, a D1 league, right? That is sanctioned by U.S. soccer. The application process is a bit complicated. It takes time. It's not approved yet. There's a bunch of requirements, stadiums they have to build, a lot of things that have to be done to be granted a D1 status. Once they get that, right? Once they get that, which, as it says here from The Athletic, which will be in 2028, they plan on having promotion relegation right away. That's what it says here, right? So how would that work? It would be USL Division One, or let's say USL Premier League. That'll be number one. Then you have USL Championship, and then you have USL League One. Because what happened was the owners voted for USL Championship and League One to have promotion relegation. So from my understanding, we're obviously going to do a more in-depth coverage, and I'm going to bring some USL guys for interviews to understand what's going on. But from my understanding, we will have Division 3, 2, and 1. Now, hopefully, we have also regional tournaments to branch out of it, but we're going to dive into the article, and we're going to go into that. Now, listen, unfortunately, Paul Tenorio from The Athletic, he broke the news, and he put it in the New York Times, and when you click on that article, it's behind a paywall. And I'm sorry, I'm not paying for that, right? Just like me, I put my YouTube videos here for free and you have ads on the video. You can put ads on it. I'm not paying the paywall. I'm not paying the subscription for the New York Times. So we're going to have to do something, which is look into another article that wrote it for free. You guys like that or hate it? I'm not paying for the New York Times. I'm not paying for The Athletic. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it. The only reason I showed that tweet was because they kind of like, they broke the news, so I think they deserve credit, but I'm sorry, I can't go through their article. So this article is actually from Sports Illustrated, and we're going to go through it. I'm also going to quickly show an interview that the USL president did today at CBS. Actually, I can't really show the clips because I'm afraid of CBS like giving me a copyright strike or something. But I want to say one thing also before we start. This is no guarantee of success. It could not work if they don't implement it correctly. It is a bold move, but it is a tremendous move and a step in the right direction. In my opinion, USL is making the right move. Now, will they take the right steps? Will it be easy? Who knows, right? Who knows? But congratulations to USL. This is the right step. And what I want to say is go big, man. Now contact Rocco Comiso and say, yo, want to bring the New York Cosmos back? That is a big brand. That is a very big brand, probably bigger than any MLS team. New York Cosmos, much more well-known worldwide. Maybe not as much as Inter Miami these days because of, Lionel Messi, but bring the Cosmos to USL. That has to happen. But here's what the article has to say. Promotion relegation coming to American professional soccer per report. While MLS may be hesitant, they're not hesitant. They're completely against it. What do you mean by they're hesitant about promotion relegation? MLS is 100% against it, and they made it pretty freaking crystal clear at this point. They're not hesitant. Hesitant are you of hitting the like button in this video because you probably didn't already, and you should probably do it right now. But MLS is not hesitant of promotion relegation. They're strictly against it, right? The owners have invested a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars into the league. And they don't want to have it because they were promised a closed pyramid. So I totally get it with the MLS owners. I don't agree with them, but I totally understand their point. It makes total sense from their perspective. Now it says, but USL looks to add promotion relegation to the American soccer system. They don't look to add. Well, I guess so, right? It's not officially there. And here are the Tampa Bay Rowdies fans. Beautiful jersey, right? Tampa Bay Rowdies here. Beautiful stadium, by the way, the Owl Lang Stadium, if you guys have never been there. So they say promotion relegation is coming to American professional soccer for the first time, according to a report from The Athletic's Paul Tenorio. The United Soccer Leagues, USL, representing American professional soccer's second and third divisions, actually fourth as well, voted to add promotion relegation to their system. So what happened was they needed the championship, the USL championship, which is the second division, to vote, the majority to vote, and they voted for promotion relegation. Then they also went to the third division, which is USL League One, and they also voted for it. And then in 2028, they're expected to have that D1 sanction from US Soccer to have a top division. And that's when they would start to implement promotion relegation in 2028. So they say here, currently it is set up at the USL Championship with 24 teams. That's where the Tampa Bay Rowdies plays. And a third tier USL League One with just 14 teams. So here's the thing that is alarming right away. USL needs more teams, right? If you're going to have 3 divisions, I would say a healthy amount of teams in 3 divisions would be somewhere close to 60, right? When you add those up, what do you have? 38. You need to have something closer to 60. So you can have roughly like 20 per division, especially in a country as big as the United States. Now, below the third division, we're probably not going to have a fourth one, but what we should have is multiple small regional tournaments that can work as qualifying for the third division. That's how it should probably go. Obviously, there's going to be some franchise fee to enter it, but it's going to be super low. It's going to be much more affordable, much more accessible to rich but small investors, right? To get into MLS nowadays, what do you need? Like 300, 400, 500 million dollars, multiple, if at least one, but multiple billionaire owners and a few millionaires. Now, if USL for the small regional tournaments that could possibly qualify to the third division, or how you enter the third division, we'll see how they're going to do that. If you can have some way to access it with some very small investment, which I don't know, like 300,000, 500,000 to get in a very low division, that would be huge. Because I know like 500,000 is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money for millionaires trying to get into soccer, trying to invest in soccer. That way, you can expand the accessibility of this sport in this country. You'll have more academies, you'll have more pro teams, more community built teams, right? A small community can build a team if it's more affordable, right? It's a little bit complicated when you have to pay 400 to 500 million dollars. Anyhow, that's one thing that it can come in. Maybe we draw also some American investors that are investing outside of the US, like John Texter can be one. Hey, maybe Tactical Manager will have a team. Who knows? Maybe I'll have a team right there. I mean, look, I can't pay 500,000, but hey, if we win the TST, the soccer tournament this summer, we'll have like $1 million to spend. So maybe I'll have a USL team. I'll try to get there. Definitely $1 million is probably not enough. But anyhow, you guys get the point. By the way, we're building a very good team for the TST. I would say one of the best teams. I'm hoping we can win it. But here's what they say. Many teams in USL are non-MLS markets, allowing cities a cheaper point of entry for owners and a separate setup to a 30-team top division. In February, the USL also applied for US Soccer for the first division status, aiming to establish USL Premier. So they're going to have like a USL Premier League, essentially, USL Championship and USL League One, which will be classified as a first division alongside MLS. So if the Division One status gets granted, which it should, and I hope it does, we will have 2 first divisions in America. That's how much of a mess US Soccer is. It's so dumb, but that's what's going to happen. Now, my question to you is this. This is what I want to ask you. One, for you to hit the like button right now. Thank you very much for that. US Soccer has to grant the first division status to USL, right? And the plan is to grant that by 2027, 2028. Could it be that US Soccer sabotages that in behalf of MLS? Because you see, there's a lot of arrogance among a portion of MLS fans and MLS ownership to think they're untouchable. I think they don't really understand how unpopular MLS is as well, right? MLS has done tremendously in terms of growth, but it's not the most watched soccer league in America. There's a lot of untapped markets. There's a lot of people that want this promotion relegation. There's a lot of community built teams that are going to emerge out of this at some point if done correctly. If done correctly. Now, the question is, could US soccer sabotage this? I mean, this is great for soccer in America. So US soccer should not sabotage this. They should support this. This is a very good thing that USL is trying to do. They have my full support for whatever that's worth. Could US soccer try to fuck things up on behalf of Major League Soccer? I don't know. We've seen MLS try to sabotage USL in multiple occasions. The US Open Cup was all about like MLS trying to sabotage USL. That's what it was about. So we'll see. We'll see. That is one of my concerns, right? That's one of my concerns is could US soccer be an issue with this? I think they'll do the right thing, but again, they never fail to disappoint me. And this was the report also from Paul Tenorio. Again, The Athletic said, breaking news, promotional relegations coming to America for the first time. USL owners whose new Division One league starts up to rival MLS in 2028 voted for it to begin in its debut season. So as soon as they get the D1 status from US Soccer, they'll be good to go to do Division 1, 2, and 3. How it's going to go below that, we don't know. I will bring some guy or a few guys or a few people from USL here to the channel for interviews in the future. I will do that. And we'll get more information of how this is going to be implemented. So they're saying if USL Premier becomes a reality, I hate this. I hate this if. They need to say it will. I mean, I understand that it's not guaranteed, but they're saying if it becomes a reality, it will likely have promotion relegation through 3 divisions, USL Championship and USL League One. Very similar to England in that sense, right? I mean, England obviously goes deeper down, but USL Premier, USL Championship, USL League One. At the same time, MLS remains a separate single entity structure. Once again, I think MLS is underestimating how much damage this can do to Major League Soccer over the long run. This can do a lot of damage over the long run. I think worst case scenario for the whole promotion relegation thing, let's say it doesn't like take off with USL, it will at least push MLS to take drastic measures to improve whatever they have to improve, which trust me, there's a lot to work with there in MLS that can improve. There's a lot of things that can improve in MLS. And Cubo Maker saying, whoever's interested, come check out the channel Discord. Link is in the description. Yes, I put the link in the description for the Discord. Now, Dan the Man 966, thank you for the 10 Canadian dollars. We have a friend from Canada. He said, could the USL expand into MLS territories if MLS goes to European calendar? And to add now that USL is going to have a pro rel route, because that makes MLS and USL in completely different ballparks. They could. I mean, there are teams in USL that are within MLS markets, right? I mean, the team from Brooklyn that Tim Weah just invested in, Brooklyn is New York. So technically you're in the same market as the New York City FC team or New York Red Bulls. There's a Miami FC team. That's the same market as Inter Miami. Maybe they could expand more and be a bit more aggressive as they grow. But I'll say this. I think once this starts, I think USL is going to adopt more of the cautious approach. They're going to go with it slow, structure it, and then eventually become aggressive. I think if they want to go very aggressively into the MLS markets, they have to be very strategic with it. For example, New York, come in with the Cosmos. Call Rocco Commisso, get him on board. He's also a big investor. He loves soccer, and he wanted this. He wanted promotion relegation. Get Rocco Commisso in. Get the New York Cosmos in. That will be actually disruptive into the New York market, right? So I get what you're saying. I think they will. I just don't think it'll be fast. I think, look, when we hear this news of U.S. soccer getting promotion relegation, we think it's just going to be something super quick. I think it's going to be very slow. So they say their plan is to implement it in 2028. I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few delays and it starts maybe in 2030, let's say. I think by 2040, that's when we will start to see the effects of it. It'll take time. It'll be slow. But I do think eventually, if USL wants this to really take off and blow up, they have to aggressively expand into MLS markets. But look, listen, Dan, here's what's interesting. This is a different approach because with promotion relegation in USL, you can't just buy your way into the first division. So if you're going to expand into the New York market or LA market or Seattle, whatever market, big market MLS has that you want to expand into, you're going to have to start in the lower leagues. And I don't know how that's going to work. Are you going to come in through the third division, or is it going to be maybe a regional tournament that you invest, you go in, and if you win it, you get into the third division and then you can get promoted? We have to see what's the structure, right? What's the entry point? That's my point. What's the entry point? Because once you have promotion relegation, the teams are who they are, right? So how does a new team join this pyramid? That is the big question. What is the entry point? What is the entry cost? Because it might reach a point where you just get multiple small clubs in an MLS market, and then a few take off, and many just go bankrupt or just stay small. They're just small community clubs. What is the entry point? That is the big question that I would love to ask anyone in USL, and I think we should be able to ask soon. I already contacted USL to get an interview, and I think we'll get an interview in the next few days. And David Atkinson is saying, I would hate having two pro divisions. That is like undoing the progress we get with Pro Rel. What a mess, but very American. Yes and no. I think at some point someone has to disrupt MLS. MLS is a little too comfortable with what they do. They have, I think MLS has done good things for US soccer. They've also done terrible things for US soccer. And I think someone has to disrupt that. And I actually think it's a good thing. I hate the fact that we have two first divisions. I think that's pretty stupid. But like I said, worst case scenario, I think this will at least push MLS to do something. And I always said this too. Let me get a sip of water here. What I've always said is that if USL ever wants to compete with MLS, because MLS is ahead of USL in almost every single category: attendance, investment, stadiums, player quality, academies, almost everything. So if USL ever wants to compete with MLS, the way to do so is by doing something different, something bold, right? And they've done it. That's it. Promotion relegation is the only way. Now, here's the thing. As things currently stand, the USSF, so the U.S. Soccer Federation, has strict requirements for professional club standards. The PCS, right? No, PSL, whatever. The professional club standards at each tier. So the first division, second division. With the top tier needing 12 teams across more than one time zone and stadiums above 15,000. 75% of the clubs must also be located within a city with over 1 million people. So let me put a few things here. The stadium requirement, I'm actually fine with that. I mean, most top divisions have that. You can't have a team in the first division looking like a freaking amateur club or a high school club or a high school team. I agree with that. A minimum of 12 teams, that's fine too. You can't have a top division with like 4 teams playing each other. Now, this is one thing that I don't think there's going to be really any big club or big soccer club in a small city in America. But at the same time, isn't a city with maybe 300,000 people enough to have one very competitive professional club in the first division? If they have the stadium, they have the quality, why would teams in a city with a smaller population not be allowed to do so? That is where I probably disagree with. There are cities in America that aren't that big of having 1 million people. And I'm a guess. So that's the one thing I disagree with that. I don't know if they can change that. That's with U.S. soccer. That's just my opinion. There are cities in America that could build a strong team that don't have 1 million people in their population, but let's keep moving. I also don't know how strict they are about that. It is unclear when promotion relegation may be introduced to the USL. It's unclear, but they say the goal is to introduce it in 2028. Okay. Once again, it's unclear, but the plan is to introduce in 2028. And they're saying here in the chat, it's 1 million metro. Yes, you're right. It's 1 million metro, but it's not the city. Because Orlando, for example, doesn't have Orlando, just the city. We don't have 1 million, but the metro area does. Still, I think it should be lower than 1 million. I think if you have 500,000, 300,000, even in the metro area, it should be fine. It doesn't have to be 1 million, in my opinion. But who am I? I have no say. I have no say. And maybe I'm stupid. Yeah, probably not. I think I'm smarter than a lot of people in U.S. soccer these days. But it is unclear when promotion relegation will be introduced. Still, the vote clearly indicates the desire to continue shaping the American soccer system beyond Major League Soccer, which is structured like other top North American professional leagues without fluid divisions. Yeah, NFL, NBA, it's the same structure as MLS. While the system may come to the U.S. soon, don't expect to see Inter Miami and any other MLS clubs. They're not clubs, they're franchises. Stop calling them clubs. Sent down to the second division. Yeah, I mean, look, this is just a stupid. I mean, yeah, I guess when they write the article, they're talking to people that don't know much of what's going on. This has nothing to do with MLS. There's not going to be promotion relegation MLS anytime soon, if ever. If ever. Okay, so this has nothing to do with MLS. It's USL. Nothing to do with MLS. However, the league and its owners will be watching closely. So he's talking, however, MLS and its owners will be watching closely, especially after recently dealing with the lawsuit, the North American Soccer League, a previous professional circuit with first division status, which accused MLS and U.S. Soccer of colluding against them. The USL Championship and League One schedules begin March 8th, so it has started already, and continue their regular seasons through late October. Okay, so that ends the article written by Ben Steiner, an American-Canadian. Oh, he's an American-Canadian journalist. So thank you very much for the article, Ben. Okay, making sure to give him credit here. Now let's go through this here. Michael Higuera is saying, I love MLS. I hope promotion relegations comes to the U.S. How would USL prevent relegated teams from going bankrupt? Parachute payments, right? Just like they do in England. That's how you do it. And look, some teams can go relegated. Not relegated, can get bankrupt regardless, like any business. But you got to do parachute payments. If you don't know what that is, look up how England does it. It's more or less similar to that. And then Michael says at the end, MLS might have to adapt to what the fans want. That's what I'm saying too. Even if this, let's say the promotion relegation to USL doesn't completely take off. Let's say it does okay, right? At least this will make MLS think a bit and adapt in a certain way. Matthew Hunt is saying, was USL thinking to add colleges? Effect on pro rel? No, that wouldn't make sense, right? NCAA is not professional. I don't think they will add colleges. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but no, I don't see how they would add college teams. Maybe it's just me. Does anyone have an idea? I don't think they would add college teams, right? College teams also won't have academies, things like that. They'll have the infrastructure, stadiums and all that, but I don't think college teams will be like professional soccer clubs. I don't see how that would happen with pro rel. But anyhow, I think it's good for U.S. soccer to have promotion relegation. We're going to have more clubs, more potential to grow, a lot of untapped markets, right? A lot of untapped markets that could get in and draw more attention from the fans. Promotion relegation is very exciting, right? That'll add some excitement. And we're going to see how things play out, right? It's very tricky. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen within the next few years. Like I said, they said 2028. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts in 2030. The next few weeks, I already emailed USL. I'm going to try to get people from USL to come in for interviews so they can kind of like show us more of what they want. I will be covering this extensively. I will be supporting USL in this process as much as I can to give them exposure, news, whatever I can do, I will. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to make sure they get the coverage they deserve in this process. And we'll do the coverage here, okay? We'll let everyone know. And Clam Park FC is saying, thank you for always supporting, talking about what's best for U.S. soccer. where no one in the media would pro-rel. Yeah, Clem, thank you very much. To be fair to the media, they are talking about it right now. They are talking about it. But I think they talk about it, CBS, all of that. They talk about it when they can get trending news, right? We've been pushing for pro-rel when the subject is dead. No one's talking about it. Boom, we bring interviews, we bring topics, we bring breakdowns, and we talk about all of that because I think it's important. Obviously, today we're covering it because it's breaking news, it's trendy, and I needed to cover this for you guys just to be on top of what's happening. And we'll continue to cover it. We're going to bring in guys from USL to talk about it. I've brought Greg Lalas in the past. Unfortunately, he's not working with USL anymore right now, Greg Lalas, so I can't bring him. But we're going to bring someone from USL to talk about this topic and address it more and more. I think if USL does it correctly, when they started, let's say 2028 or 2030, within like 10 to 12 years, let's say by 2040, we could see a league that is actually competing or even surpassing MLS. I don't think it's that crazy. And things move fast, man. Things move a lot faster than you expect once they start. The problem is starting. So let's see when USL starts. Clam Park FC, thank you very much for the generous donation and everyone that supported the channel. So everyone, if you're watching the stream, once I close it, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Will it work? How would you want the pyramid to be structured? What is the entry point? How do teams enter the third division? Is it through regional tournament? Is it through UPSL? Some of the amateur leagues we have around. We don't know how it's going to happen. We'll get more information for y'all the next few weeks. Thank you very much for watching. Drop a like right now if you haven't already. Okay, I'm not going to leave until you do. Do it right now. It takes a second. And that's all. I guess I'll see you all tomorrow for the live watch along of United States versus Panama. Big game tomorrow. Very big game for the United States. We're missing a lot of players. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. A-Rob is out. Johnny Cardoso is also out. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Camp coverage starts tomorrow. If you missed out, also, we did a preview for U.S. versus Panama. Just go check out the video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Ciao.